What's going on, everyone? Happy Friday to everyone. Hopefully, everyone is doing well, staying safe, healthy. If you had taken a COVID test, hopefully you have tested negative. If you did test positive, I hope you have a full and speedy recovery with no long COVID issues. It is time now for the Friday edition of the Pandemic Update for Friday, August 30th, 2024. Yes, the last Friday in August, and we do have some new data and some pretty big news for you today. And of course, we're headed into Labor Day weekend. It's a really risky period for COVID. Levels remain high all across the country. So if you're out there traveling right now, chances are those resort towns or wherever you may be heading has dealing with COVID and COVID outbreaks. There's a high chance you will encounter someone who is positive for COVID this weekend during your travels. Maybe it be at the rest area. Maybe it be at a restaurant if you're someone that likes to do normal things, go back to normal activities. You have to be prepared for the potential that you could catch and test positive for COVID this weekend. We're in a major summer wave. We're still doing over 1 million cases each and every day. The news is not talking enough about this. I haven't heard any news station say, hey, travelers should be concerned as we head into the holiday weekend as COVID levels are high. No, I don't see anything like that. They stopped doing that several years ago. But meanwhile, COVID is still a threat to you. And pretty soon, cold and flu season's coming up. Yes, we do have some new data that shows influenza-like activity. It's going up already. So it's not just COVID out there. There's a lot of viruses you need to be aware of. And I'm going to keep you informed on that today. If you're new to my channel, subscribe down below, give this a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, share this video with anyone you know, and leave your comments down below. Today we do have some news stories to look at, some of our daily data. I want to show you something from up here in Maine, which makes me think, yeah, COVID's not going to be slowing anytime soon, at least up here in New England, and if it does, I would be surprised. And then we're going to take a look at some new CDC data, some of my notes, and a few other things. Starting off with this. This is something a lot of people have been waiting for. Some people are happy that the new Pfizer and Moderna shots are out. That's great. Others were waiting for Novavax to get FDA emergency use authorization. Guess what? Today it was announced it has happened. This is coming straight from Novavax. Novavax has received emergency use authorization from the U.S. FDA for its updated COVID-19 vaccine in individuals aged 12 and older. Pre-filled syringes are expected to be available in thousands of locations across the U.S. in the coming days. Find Novavax's vaccine on their website. And I had a suspicion something may be coming soon because Novavax's stock was getting a lot of volatility this week, which meant, something was up. Well, here we are. It got approved, and I think I'm going to be going and getting my Novavax shot either late September or sometime in the first week in October. Hopefully the place I got it the last time will be stocking it. I'll be in contact with them, finding out about them. Moving on now to our next story. Let's not waste any time and just go right into this one. Breaking, the CDC reports, this is from Sci-Fi on X, the CDC reports largest increase in influenza-like illness since December 30th. ILI, influenza-like illness, is up 110% from 2019. This is something that is just really, it's just not a good thing whatsoever, and we're going to have to keep our eyes on this. I mean, COVID is out there, but, COVID can impact your immune system. And by impacting your immune system, you can catch other viruses much more easier. Something that would have just been an everyday cold could turn into something more serious. Hey, you could even be hospitalized. Yes, it's something you have to be concerned about. Corona Heads Up tweeted this. U.S. California birds flu outbreaks suspected in 3 cattle herds. So, yes, this is something that's not good. Infection of 3 dairy farms in Central Valley. And moving on now to my website, the Carroll County School District in northern Kentucky canceled school for the remainder of the week due to illness spreading to members of the community. The dates classes are canceled are Thursday, August 29th, that was yesterday, and Friday, August 30th. Several different illnesses were listed for the closing, including COVID, which is why it has made it to the archive of outbreaks for schools. An update will be posted on this outbreak if there is any new information. That is on my website. And speaking of my website, I continue to work on the site. And I think I showed you this yesterday, but I'll show you again. The mayor of D.C. did test positive for COVID yesterday. Turns out this was not her first case. She has had COVID in the past, and it also turns out this really gets to me. It also turns out her older sister died of COVID back on February 21st of 2021. So she's had COVID once. Her sister, one of her sisters, have died of COVID, and here we are. Yes, she tested positive for COVID again. I mean, why wasn't she being more careful? She lost a relative, a loved one. She's had COVID in the past. I mean, here we are. We're living thinking everything's fine once again, when everything is not fine. COVID is still a threat. People are still being hospitalized. People are still dying, though not at the levels that we saw back in the early days of the pandemic. It's still happening, and it can happen at random to anyone. Alright, moving on. Influenza-like illness we talked about, but heat-related illnesses, that's the word I'm looking for. Heat-related illness. It's still a problem across the United States, and the Southeast is really hot right now, so we could see it continue there for a few more weeks. Taking a look at the allergy map for today, and we do note that 41% of the country is in medium to high status, and we also do see here, though there is still some red in the Ohio Valley and across parts of the Great Lakes, the western portion of the Great Lakes actually is not as bad today. The Plains, red. California and Nevada is seeing some red today. And there's also some red in southeast Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Not bad up here in New England. And in the southeast, we do note that things are actually improving in some places. Look at Louisiana, parts of Florida. Not terrible at this time. Let's take a look at air qualities around the United States if the map does load, and we will see that there is a mixed bag of air qualities, but again, not as bad in the west as we have been seeing lately. But Idaho, portions of Oregon, Wyoming, and even western Montana, yeah, really bad air qualities, especially in Idaho. Please be careful if you are there. And then once you get about southeast of Chicago, you do note that there is some oranges and yellows. And if this map would load fully, you'll see there are still some oranges and yellows to be had in the Mid-Atlantic region as well. Want to learn more about climate and weather? The place to do that is over at my other Twitter account on X, which is Climate Data Report. Philadelphia yesterday did report under 800 EMS incidents. It was 792. That is a number that I'm happy about. Let's do a live look at what's going on with Montgomery County, Pennsylvania right now. And we do see here that there are a few calls to be had. 9 total calls right now. Chester County, Pennsylvania is not terrible. Actually, no, it just updated here. Yeah, there's a lot of calls in Chester County, Pennsylvania. Sick persons listed a couple times. Heart problems, respiratory difficulty. Not good. Speaking of not good, we're coming into a holiday weekend. Holiday weekends are good for the economy, but they're bad for COVID. Take a look at what's happening here in Maine. Remember yesterday I said, I'm probably not going to be going many places come this weekend. Yeah, take a look at these traffic cameras here. This is the Maine Turnpike of what is coming into Maine right now. You can see here, it's just a sea of cars coming into the state. Yeah, it's a lot of people coming in right now. Places are going to be crowded. COVID loves crowds. That's where COVID could potentially find you. Alright, moving on now. Taking a look at Canada, the viral activity level for COVID-19 is listed as high. Influenza flu activity A, low. Influenza B is not detected. RSV is low at this time. Alright, before we continue on, let's take a look at some notes. And we already talked about the Labor Day holiday weekend COVID risk. Anywhere that's a resort area or a place that sees a lot of people on holiday weekends is a risk here in the United States this weekend. There's also another risk. It's not just Labor Day weekend. A lot of college towns are going to get busy this weekend. College football, COVID risk. I'll probably watch some college football on TV. I'm from Pennsylvania, so I'll watch the Penn State Nittany Lions on TV tomorrow. Now, they're not playing at home. They're playing in West Virginia. But places like that, you know, people are going to go to those areas. They're going to stay at hotels. They're going to patronize in the businesses. They're going to eat out. They're going to go to bars. They're going to tailgate. All these things. you will likely encounter someone who is positive for COVID when doing these things. All right, moving on to some data now from CJS A3172. And it says here, he said, this is directly, I just copied it directly today. The numbers for states from yesterday, including a whopping number of CDC reported deaths from North Carolina per the CDC's Thursday provisional deaths update. Oh boy, let's find out what that's all about. Florida, 2,521 new cases and 34 new deaths in their daily update yesterday. New Jersey had another 1,026 new cases and 3 new deaths in their weekday update. New York, as we know, yesterday had 2,776 new cases in their daily update. Remember, some things do get added in on Thursdays, such as New York City data. Virginia had 1,410 new cases and 2 new deaths added to their COVID open data page for cumulative deaths. Washington, D.C. had 218 new cases and 1 new CDC reported death. Puerto Rico, 566 new cases and 1 new death. Georgia, 7,814 new cases, which is down. That's down. It is, but that's still a high number. This is a weekly number. Down from 9,049 they added last week, and another 19 new deaths. Indiana, 4,833 new cases, including 1,247 from last week and 13 new deaths. Wow. Kentucky, look at this. Kentucky, 4,415 new cases and 24 new CDC reported deaths. That whole little area there, Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, doing really bad at this time. If you live in that area, please, 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 mask up. All right, moving on to Massachusetts, just south of here by a little ways. A net of 2,798 new cases, which takes into account over 400, don't ask me where this came from, 400 cases from late 2020 and 2021 that were removed. I don't know why. I don't know why some states do what they actually do. And 21 new deaths. Minnesota, 2,516 new cases and 21 new deaths. North Carolina, what's going on? 59 new CDC reported deaths. That's absolutely horrible for North Carolina. Nebraska, this is not a good number for you. 884 new positive tests and 6 new CDC reported deaths. I think Nebraska's population is maybe kind of similar to up here in Maine. So, I mean, they don't get the number of tourists that come up here to Maine, but yeah, that's a lot of cases for you. At least I think it is. 6 new CDC reported deaths. And Vermont, 284 new cases and 3 new deaths. Cases didn't drop much, but at least the deaths did. All right, going back now to my browser here. Walgreens this week, the positivity rate dropped slightly. We don't even need to take a look at that. Let's take a look at some new data that just came in today. CDC. The KP 3.1.1 variant update is, yes, it's at 42.2%. And I had suspected it was going to continue to rise higher. It may not even be done yet. KP 2.3 is at 14.6%. KP.3 is at 14.2%. LB.1 is at 13.5%. And I do want to move down here just a little ways. There is a KP 1.1.3 that is at 2.6%. And there is a bunch of other little variants here. There's a whole slew of them, and there's even some here that are under 1%. But right now, the dominating variant, once again, KP 3.1.1 at 42.2%. That is newly updated as of today. Speaking of something else that's updated as of today, you can see here, wastewater. It had leveled off. It's trying to rise a little bit again. I think we're just bouncing off the top at this point, but when we come down here, you're going to see something bad. I want to draw your attention to this blue, 0 to 19% COVID detected in wastewater. That's really low levels. Yeah, there's just only 16 sites that are that low now. In the whole entire United States, the lower 48, Puerto Rico, Hawaii, Alaska, Guam, D.C., New York City, the Northeast, the West Coast, the South, the Midwest, the Mid-South, the Northwest. The whole entire country. Come on, folks. That's terrible. This is summertime. We should not be that bad right now. We just should not be. 298 sites are at 80 to 100% COVID detected. 60 to 79% COVID detected. There's 569 sites in that category. This is a very risky holiday weekend. Very risky. Please, if you're going to have a barbecue or anything this weekend, please do so safely. And if you're going to have a large group and you have some high risk people coming, make sure everyone takes a COVID test. You have to. No, I'm not mandating you to do that. I'm not trying to sound mean or anything, but it just has to be done. COVID is still a threat, and to see levels this high is just absolutely ridiculous. This is why we keep having new variants forming again and again, because we allow COVID to just transmit this much. I mean, we're just letting COVID do whatever the heck it wants, and when you allow it to do whatever the heck it wants, it's going to say, oh, you're not going to take me serious? Guess what? I'm just going to keep spreading, and I'm just going to keep mutating, and that's what it is doing. Totally ridiculous. Take a look at this. Viral activity levels. Yeah, some places are starting to improve. California did a little bit. Texas did. And Florida did. We're still a lot of places very high. We'll take a deeper look at this at Wastewater Sunday. Taking a look now at some more news or some more data that's in from the CDC. Let's take a look at epidemic status. We can see it is growing still in many places. New Hampshire, Massachusetts, West Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky, Illinois, and even down in Arkansas, still growing. Likely growing once again in Florida. That's a little bit of a surprise. Florida should have been dropping now. But it is what it is. Likely growing in Pennsylvania, Maryland, Wisconsin, Minnesota. It's also likely growing up in Montana, Oklahoma, Idaho, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, and Alaska. It is likely declining now in a few places in Connecticut, New York, North Carolina, Oregon, and California, and is now declining in Washington State, Louisiana, and in Mississippi. Then there's a lot of places that are stable or uncertain in between, and of course we do have some places that continue to just not report. Wyoming and Missouri and Georgia and now Alabama are just not estimated because they're not reporting at this time. And Hawaii, remember Hawaii was a big problem early on? Well, Hawaii right now is stable or uncertain, and early on it was also a problem in Alaska. So seeing Alaska likely growing again, that's not a good thing. Alright, we do have a couple more things to look at. Then we're done for today. Then you can safely go in and enjoy your Friday evening. Take a look here. We can see here that ER visits for COVID-19, positive people showing up at the hospital, positive for COVID, are starting to drop. I think we're going to take a deeper look like we normally do on Saturdays at ER visits. You know how we go through all the states that report. We'll see. And sometimes if I try and load this, I'm far away from a router right now. If I try and load this, it may spin in circles tomorrow. So we'll just have to see. I'll try for it anyhow. Taking a look at New Jersey for today, and we see hospitalizations, 535. It says 69 out of 70 hospitals reported, 4 people on a ventilator in the ICU. I don't know if we're actually going to be able to get that number. No, we did. 57 people in the ICU, and a number of people that have been discharged from the hospital in New Jersey. Yeah, I guess we're not going to be getting that number. Yeah, it's trying to come up here. Oh, there it is. 104 people discharged. Wow, that's quite a few people. I mean, the volume discharges, that's pretty high. Maybe they want to release people because the holiday weekend is coming in. In New York State, today, not yesterday, but today, 1,985 new cases. And taking a look at what's going on with their hospitalizations, they did drop. And it does look like they're starting to drop, maybe just a little bit more. Reminder, there's going to be a lag next week. There's going to be a holiday on Monday, Labor Day, and there's going to be some missed data. The hospitalizations, it's 1,157 and 116 people in the ICU. Alrighty, folks, that does it for the Friday evening edition of the Pandemic Update. We'll have another update again tomorrow. I don't know what time of day it's going to be. Don't know if it's going to be earlier, like it normally would be, or later, like this evening. We'll just have to see tomorrow. Please, if you're celebrating Labor Day weekend, please do so safely. Don't go to those crowded places like up here in Maine, like me. I'm not going to be going to very many places, and let's see, there it is again. Yeah, look at that. Look at all these people that are coming into Maine. Yeah, please, avoid crowds like this. I'm next to a lake. It's easy. I can social distance here. Matter of fact, I'm going to do that next. I'm going to do some swimming. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe down below. Hit that notification bell. and share this video with anyone you know. And of course, leave your comments down below. I assume with Novavax being approved, there's going to be a lot of comments. Speaking of approving, may take me a little while to get to approving all your comments today, but I will get through them this evening. So if you don't notice your comments showing up at first, don't worry. I will get to it at some point this evening. Thanks for watching. I will see you all again next time. Until I see you again next time, stay safe, everyone, and have a fantastic Labor Day weekend. Thanks for watching.